The power of business. I thought you were going to point with me.
It's all right.
This is our top 5 business books of all times. And I clearly have forgotten how to speak. Welcome to another episode of our video version of the Pressure Project podcast. I am Justin Garcia, a.k.a. Master Chim, and I'm here with the white businessman himself, white boy Pat.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say the white business. Just period. The white business.
The white businessman.
That's me. What's up?
Patrick Kelly. And welcome to another episode. Glad to have you guys here.
Video's a lot more fun.
What's that?
I said video's a lot of fun.
It is, because we got to watch our faces and shit.
Yeah.
All right. So
We'll get into that later.
All right, we'll get into that. So, number 2 on the video, right? Today's number 2. It's episode 82, but it's our second video, and looking forward to it. The first one went well.
Yeah, it did.
And we've got a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, good feedback.
Your entire family enjoys that you're now on
clearly. Clearly, they all enjoyed that. Shout out to the family.
To the clan, to the Kelly clan. Now, are they the Kellys or the other side?
Justice.
Justice?
Yeah.
Their last name is Justice?
Yes.
You were destined to be a superhero. You don't even fucking know it.
Justice. There's some other ones, but Justice is like my mom's maiden name. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, Justice.
Justin Justice. Justin and Justice.
That's
all right.
funny.
Anywho. All right, guys. So we shared last episode a bunch of goals that we have for 2015. And we're going to continue to remind you of the help that we need from our listeners, our power players, if you will. We need 100,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Now, 100,000 subscribers on a YouTube channel is significant.
Yeah.
It's not elite, but it is definitely significant.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who we love and respect that do not have 100,000 subscribers.
This is true. Yeah.
100,000 is not something that we could do on power alone. We need help.
Yeah.
We need help. It takes a village, if you will.
It takes a village.
It takes a village. So we implore you to please subscribe to the video, share it with your friends, try to get them to subscribe. Tell them they don't even have to listen to it. They'll eventually get an email. They'll get hooked. They'll listen to it eventually. But that's that. Okay, today we're going to talk about business.
Okay.
Right now, what is business to you? Like, what does business represent to you?
Everything.
Everything.
No, business to me, I see it. For me, I'm lucky. I wouldn't even say lucky. I worked hard for it, but everything that I get to do is not work. You know, I had to work before. I was doing music videos, commercials, and while that seems cool, if you're not into it, it's not. It's business. It's work.
You were doing editing, right?
I was doing editing. I was doing graphics.
Because you make it sound like you were a singer and a fucking actor.
Yeah. True. Good point. I was not
doing music videos and movies.
I was tap dancing. I used to call me a young Ben Vereen, with the white Ben Vereen.
Benjamin.
The white Vereen.
Benjamin Vereen.
Yeah. So no. I did music. I did like commercials and graphics, editing, some directing, stuff like that. But that ended up all. At first, I thought that was going to be it, but it was all work and it was all bullshit. Turns out that I should have done what I wanted to do when I was little, which is martial arts for a living. So for me, everything I do is technically business. You know, we're lifting weights, that's business. You know, we're training, that's business. We're going on our trips, we're doing stuff, we're learning new things. Where that's all to me. So it's all business.
Right. So similarly, everything that I've done since my early 20s has been really seeking out, what it is that I'm passionate about, and then applying a certain amount of pressure to those passions. I remember in a State of the Jungle address I gave a couple of addresses ago.
many moons ago.
Many moons ago. And that's every 3 months at the school we have a promotion, and I give a State of the Jungle address, it's called.
Yeah.
It's really, what's on my mind, what's everybody thinking about lately, what's going on out in society and stuff. And
what do the students need to hear?
Right. What do they need to hear sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And this particular one that I gave was about how, in life, one of the goals to success I found is finding what it is that you're passionate about and pressuring yourself as much as you can in that passion. Now, one could say, yeah, but there's a lot of different ways to make money. And I know a lot of people that don't exactly love what they do, but they make money. And I think it's important we define success.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
I'm not a multimillionaire, but I consider myself very successful. I have great friends, a great tribe around me. I have, a wonderful wife, beautiful kids, a great business, like I got a lot of good things going on, and I know a lot of people who are very, very wealthy, financially, who don't have all those things. So I think it's important to define what success is.
I agree.
Now, why is it that we have to find our passions, in order to be successful? Because I'll argue that those are the things that you are built to endure pressure from.
True.
Right? Like I work 100 hours a week.
Easily.
Easily, as do you,
Yeah.
as do you. And
luckily we don't sleep.
yeah, like
Much.
I'm dedicated to curing sleep. It's a defect in our design that we need to figure out.
We need the nanomachines.
We're going to make it happen. So I'm raising one. I should raise one of my sons to just cure sleep. That'll be his job.
That's all he's allowed to do.
Right. So anywho, for me, it's always been, find the thing that I love doing, find the thing that doesn't feel like work, and then do it at a level higher than anybody around me. Do it at a level higher than anybody could possibly pressure me to do. I've always been the one to pressure myself more than other people can pressure me.
True.
Now, starting from the bottom, right? Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
I tell people you get people who say, money isn't everything, and I like this and it's sort of like, I said a variation of that to some extent, but a lot of those people are full of shit. Because there's a reason why the bottom of the ladder sucks. Want to know why?
Because at the bottom.
Because it's supposed to suck.
Yeah.
Being poor is supposed to suck.
Agreed.
It's supposed to be terrible, right?
Yeah.
If you're poor and it's great, what's wrong with being poor?
It's true.
Why move to not be poor?
You wouldn't.
Right?
Yeah.
So, we can get into the semantical, argument of, well, if we're going to define success, we have to define what's poor. And, I have this, and there's a certain point where it's like, okay, you have a lot of good things going on, but, I always talk about, and I think it was Jim Rohn's definition of success, or definition of what a loser is somebody who is not putting forth an effort to achieve and manifest his or her own potential.
That's accurate. Yeah.
You have the ability to do something.
And you don't do it.
Right. And you have that ability to do it, and you don't do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And I could see that as being a great definition. I've used that, over the years to define what a loser is. It's not, it's like to use a very weak analogy, but a simple one to process. Is if you have a guy like Michael Jordan, a basketball player, who, goes out and one season, when he was at his prime, scores 15 points a game, when he's known for scoring 30 points a game. That 15 points is probably better than average.
Yeah.
It's probably going to put him at a level above where the midpoint is in the league. But when you compare it to who he can be, he's a fucking loser if he does that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had some guy that has a fraction of his potential, who manages to score 15 points, it's, he's an overachiever.
Yeah.
Right. Muggsy Bogues, like 5'3", playing in the NBA. Like that's a guy who just being there means something differently. So we're all judged by our own criteria, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And I think potential is one of those things that really sort of slides that scale of expectation.
Yeah, it's really always terrible when you see someone who has a lot of talent and they throw it away because they don't want to work hard. They don't want to do anything. They just want to rest on whatever they have, and they fail. That's a fucking loser.
Right. And if you look at it as a sort of component of what the overall package is for success, you have effort
Yeah.
and you have talent, i.e. potential, and they are just different components of a formula, like
Yeah.
you can have the guy that has all the talent in the world and no work ethic. You could have the guy that has all the work ethic in the world and no talent.
Yeah.
Like there's some guys, no matter how hard they try to be a, professional MMA fighter, it's not going to happen.
True. And hands down, the guys who come here, at least with us, and join our crew, we take the guys who are maybe not talented, but hard workers over the pricks or the assholes who are really talented, but they don't give a fuck. They don't last very long.
Right.
But
choose everything over the pricks.
What?
We choose them over the
I don't
pricks.
really use that word much.
You don't. It's fucking weird.
It's fucking weird, right?
It's good that you're not talking about pricks all day.
Yeah, I don't mention pricks a lot.
So we have to, at some point, get to this list.
Oh, yeah. We have a list.
So we have a list. Now, what we decided to do.
And now is that point.
Now is that point. We've decided to pick 5 books. We're going to do it in descending order. And starting from 5 down to our favorite business book.
Countdown.
It's a countdown.
It's the final
It
countdown.
will. It is the final. It was like Starship, Jefferson Starship.
Fuck.
Isn't that
the
it?
final countdown. It's like Asia or somebody, I think.
Anywho. So we're starting with number 5, as Pat looks that up.
Of course.
This happens all the time, by the way. The new visual, format affords them the now insight into our dynamic. Right. So we say
True.
something we don't know.
Yeah, immediately.
All right, he's just bringing that up. So we're going to start with number
Europe.
5.
I was close. I said Asia. It's Europe.
Europe, different continent. So, so I could have said Africa, and I would have been equally as close.
It would have been just as close.
Right.
Except I don't think there's a band called Africa. But there is a band called Asia.
All right. So number 5.
Number 5.
Let's get started.
Let's do it. I'm focused.
Focused.
All right.
Outliers by
Outliers, yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell. Now, there are a lot. We've spoken about outliers before. Anybody who talks about business success in terms of books has to mention outliers nowadays.
True.
And Malcolm Gladwell, I think it's also worth noting, I'm not a huge fan of Malcolm Gladwell outside of his realm of expertise.
Yeah.
Which is writing books.
Understood.
So when you
That's
start talking,
so
you know what
everything
it is?
else, writing books, good. Everything else,
Yeah,
not so good.
not so good. His hairstyle, fucking terrible. He looks like a fucking microphone. But he
racism.
The big thing is that he's like against football.
That's stupid.
He's against American football
That's
because of brain injury, because of brain trauma. And he's one of those guys, like he's one of those.
Do all the football players know there's a risk of brain trauma?
Probably.
Yeah. So what the fuck? So
it's the intellectual who is removed, because this is the problem in a society like this one, right? I'm not going to call Malcolm Gladwell a leaf of society.
okay.
Because he has a powerful intellect and he's done great work, and has put forth very concise, articulated explanations of concepts that we probably wouldn't be privy to had he not done the work for us.
True.
All that being said, though, he is so far removed from people who are unlike himself
Okay.
that he cannot sort of see why it is so weak to suggest that we as a society should remove sports like football. He denies the physical nature of life, reality, society, and the interaction with other people.
Hmm.
And to not explore that aspect of who we are, I think is irresponsible.
I agree.
In his case, probably just ignorant,
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell didn't look like he was playing football. I mean, he looked like he was playing with balls his whole life. But football, probably not.
Footballs.
Probably not football. So outliers.
Yeah.
All that being said,
his
his book
here's the
Outliers
book that we
is
read.
our 5th favorite business book of all time.
Listen, but think about it. It shows that this is a legit book. If we think
Right.
he's a fucking idiot, but he wrote an amazing book. it's
And,
pretty good.
and that's a thing you'll notice with people, which is a weak position, by the way. I don't like him unless he likes me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like him. Anything he does is terrible because I don't like him.
Yeah.
And
He
when
wrote
you
a fucking good book with
He
some good
wrote
shit
an
that
amazing
applies to a lot of different areas
if
of life.
something's good, it's good.
Yes.
You know, the sort of interpersonal dynamic and relationship between you and the person, it's irrelevant.
It is.
You know, so anywho, outliers.
Outliers.
Now, Malcolm Gladwell sort of brought up a lot of concepts, ideas, and phrases in this book that are now used more and more outside of, you know, his original, I guess, intended audience.
Yeah, we mentioned it a lot in training.
10,000 hours.
Yeah, 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours became like the bar
Yeah.
that he set for getting really good at something. If you do it for 10,000 hours, that's when you'll become an expert. If you look at all the experts for any field, 10,000 hours. So that's the number that he argues. And is it more of a figurative suggestion or observation? Probably. I mean, of course it is.
Yeah.
You know, but the whole notion of reducing talent to repetition is a powerful one, right?
Yeah.
Because it enables anybody, you know, to become elite in anything that they wish to become elite in.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
Another thing, he talks about those people that we deem gurus or savants, prodigies in given, you know, endeavors. When you dissect what it is that made them who they are, you start to discover patterns. Some of the patterns that he discovered was cultural context. You know, having, you know, why are Asians? And I'm going to bastardize this explanation right now, but why are Asians good at math? You know, why? Because, you know, they come from a culture that was sort of, that reinforced patience, tedious skill, humility, you know, hard work, perseverance. Basically, they're awesome.
Rice patties.
Right? And rice patties, you know. So that culture, you know, you have the mindset of having to do something sort of ad nauseum for hours on end. Details,
Yeah,
tedious
math.
details. Yeah. And, you know, that's the type of mindset you want when processing math.
True.
Right? So another one, he talks about black kids. Why are black kids so bad at math? It has nothing to do with intelligence, you know, he explains, but rather, you know, whereas they're equal to their white counterparts early on in school, what winds up happening is they start getting left behind because when school's out, the white kids keep learning and the black kids don't.
So it's not the dimples in the skull.
No, it's not the dimples.
It's not that.
It's not.
You know what that's from? It's from Django.
Okay. Right. So,
I'm just saying, that's pretty fucking.
So now you can understand what that sounds like if I don't know it's a movie reference, and I'm like,
it sounds like I'm fucking.
They
nuts.
can see you, right? So,
Yeah, some
all
Django.
right, Django reference. Yeah. Oh God. So it's not from the dimples in the skull.
Okay, understood.
Right. Another observation he makes,
Yeah.
which gets a little bit more notoriety from the book, is the disproportionate amount of Canadian professional hockey players who were born, I think it's the first 3 months of the year. And you say, well, what does being born the first 3 months of the year have to do with them becoming, you know, professional level hockey players? And he describes and breaks it down how the little league system of Canadian hockey allows the earliest ages to be kids from those 3 months. They like make the age cutoff. So they enter that system of little league hockey at an age earlier than all the other kids.
I see.
You know, and I think like Wayne Gretzky, arguably the greatest hockey player. I don't know hockey. Everyone knows
He's
Wayne
pretty
Gretzky.
good.
But he was
I know
like,
who
he
he is.
has one of those birthdays in the first 3 months. And,
Nice.
and it's like example after example. So it's a great sort of collection of information, data, you know, empirical evidence and proof, broken down and sort of dissected at a very, very high level, but articulate, you know, level, you know, to boot. So
He's well spoken.
very well spoken.
What?
You laughed. You know you fucking.
I don't know
fuck.
anything.
So
Yeah, it's a good book.
that being said, segue to our fourth book. All right, so Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, number 5. Great book, amazing book. Number 4, Tribes
Tribes
by Seth Godin.
Seth Godin.
Tribes is not only a great book, but it's a book that I had all my students read.
Yeah.
My inner circle students, because Seth Godin is like one of these. I don't want to use the word genius because it's so broad, but he's a guy that has a level of insight, in his subject matter, marketing, right, and business culture.
Yep.
He has an insight that just sets him apart from so many of his peers nowadays. And he's contemporary, he's out and about, out in the boot,
yep,
as they say in Canada.
True.
But his book Tribes is a great collection on what it is that makes a company successful, what it is that makes a client base, right, successful. Like if I sell mat notes, right? I sell mat notes.
Yeah.
Right? I do.
Just happen to sell those.
I happen to sell those.
Yeah.
And, the people that are fans of mat notes, like, what is the identity, using my tribal form, what is the RPS of this group, and he does a great job pretty much describing what you should be doing.
Yeah, he does.
Not just only, making observations, what the individual characteristics are, but, more of this is what you should be doing. This is what you shouldn't be doing. This is what, a great leader is. This is what a great leader is not.
Yeah.
He talks about, focusing on a mission. Like, what's your mission? Is just being here a mission, or do you guys collectively have something that you're all working toward?
Yeah, that makes everyone stronger.
Right, right. Is the group surrounded, or are they brought together because of the one leader? Are they brought together because of a specific mission, an idea, a goal? And he articulates those things very well. He talks about failure not being fatal, right? That's his phrase.
Yeah.
And he talks about seeking out criticism. Why is it that so many people, refuse to seek out criticism when it is one of the greatest sources of power, right?
It really is.
And it's funny. Your son won the tournament in the pressure quest,
yeah,
which is like an in-house tournament we ran in the school here.
It was fucking awesome.
And his son choked the shit out of my son in the finals. And after it, it's
after many matches,
like right after. All right, don't sugarcoat it.
It seems like
they both did well. They're the fucking coaches.
No, but I meant they made it without us doing anything to help them make it to the finals.
Right.
It wasn't just like, all right, guys, here comes the coach's kids. They're gonna fight.
Right. Oh, so you were qualifying it as they earned to be there.
Correct.
Okay. Or you going another way with it?
Yeah,
my bad, my bad, yo, my bad. But yeah, they both had multiple matches. My son had to bye the first round.
You fixed it.
And I fixed it so they fought in the first round also.
Correct.
Right? Because he's going to fight every fucking kid.
Yep.
So he made it to the finals and in a guillotine, tapped out to the guillotine. He was pissed.
He was pissed.
Me,
He was fired up the whole day.
Right. To a hilarious level.
Yes.
I don't pressure him in terms of, you lost, now you suck. Now you sleep with the dog.
Beat you.
Now you sleep with the dog. But he was motivated, and the next day, I didn't say one thing about what happened. The next day, and he just turned 8, right? So they're young, about the same age.
He turns 8 at the end
Isaiah
of this month.
in
February 1st.
right?
Yeah.
So 2 months apart.
Yeah.
And Hayden came in and he said, "Daddy." I was like, "What?" "Yes, my son. Yes, yo." And he said, "I really don't like getting choked. Can you stop? No. Can you? I really don't like getting choked.
Can you take your hand off my throat?"
I'm sorry I lost. But he asked me, and this is the first time he had ever done this, asked me to drill the escape for the guillotine.
That's awesome.
He said, "I didn't know how to get out, and I don't like that."
Nice. That's good.
Now, if he doesn't get choked, that doesn't happen, right?
100% true.
So all that, getting back to this is in terms of tribe,
Yeah.
Finding criticism is really sort of finding out what it is that's wrong with you that you may not be able to see.
100%.
Right? So
all the guys, we thrive off criticism.
Right.
And compliments, we have no place for them at all.
Always be suspicious of compliments.
Yeah. But I mean, especially in terms of like in training and things. Like it's always like if you don't say anything, we're like, all right, we're probably doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, criticism come, we're like, all right, what do we need to fix?
Right.
You know, silence is our compliment.
Powerful friend of ours.
Yes.
The whole quote on compliments.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't, and I'm paraphrasing because he said it much better.
Sure.
He said, I don't compliment men because it doesn't serve any purpose and it's embarrassing for the man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. It's like, if that shit don't sit your ass down and tell you to fucking think about some shit, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
So when somebody compliments you and you feel good, why do you feel good? Think about that.
Yeah. 100%.
Think about what void are you letting that man fill in your life?
You know, anytime someone's from out of the tribe have come in to work with us and they say something that's a compliment, we're all like,
like what? Like,
oh no, your squat's looking strong. I'm like,
are you fucking with me? You know me, I have the chip on my shoulder.
It's like, what do you
like,
mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like,
how is it strong?
Strong what?
Strong in what way?
Strong like your mother? You know, right into mother jokes.
Strong like a 120-pound lesbian? Is that how strong it is?
So with Tribes, Seth Godin, brilliant dude. Tribes, I've read his other books.
Yeah.
Tribes is probably, definitely my favorite, and I found the most useful in dealing with the people in the groups that I deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's legit.
Right. So why don't you read the next one?
The next one, The Art of Strategy by R.L. Wing.
So now this book came out in the 80s, and I think I just spit on the mic.
It's all right.
This book,
it can take it.
It's got the spit proof thing.
It's got that.
So what's that called?
The pop filter.
Pop filter. Pop.
Still here.
Right. So
it does a better job than if you didn't.
All right. So with The Art of Strategy, this book is designed after, I guess, a business interpretation of The Art of War.
That's awesome.
By Sun Tzu. And if you don't know what The Art of War is, it's a great a war strategy book written by a genius, Sun Tzu, who had a sort of position of dominating battles before the battle ever happened.
Yep.
All these other things that were involved in becoming a powerful leader and a powerful general, if you will. And R.L. Wing's version, The Art of Strategy, takes a lot of these concepts, and I think there's like 36. It's like 36 lessons, right? Or
that's a good number.
Or concepts or principles, whatever. And he translates them into a sort of business paradigm, and has done, because other people have tried to do it, he does the best job by far of any I've read. And three things he talks about, which are very much related to The Art of War, are positional strategy, expansion strategy, and situation response. So pretty much, how do you structure and how do you position yourself in business to be successful? Now, this could be anything from proximity to the enemy, to spies, to all of these just cool things that,
it's awesome.
You don't hear the average business book talking about. Expansion, how is it that you're going to grow your force? It's funny, you talk about the RPS, formula, P being procreation. It's a huge part of a tribal dynamic. And, I have, in the loyalty matrix that I designed, having procreation as a key component to a tribe's identity, you see as a reoccurring theme in other people's assessment of the same, material.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Right. It makes sense.
Growing,
you got to find a way to grow.
Yeah.
And
if you're not growing, you are
shrinking.
Yeah.
And situation response is pretty much how you deal with specific situations. This happens, what do you do? And taking, Sun Tzu's, laws and sort of finding business parallels for them, and then describing the responses parallel, in terms of business. Yeah. It's just a great read, a powerful read. It's on a lot of people's top lists, for business books, and it's definitely something that I recommend.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So the last two are my favorite two by far. So it's like 1, 2. We could do this now, the visual.
Yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, understood.
Right. So number 2 is Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar.
Legit.
Now, let me tell you something about selling. I sell. No, it's selling gets a bad rap. And
it does, 100%.
It gets a bad rap because so many people don't understand it.
Nope.
They connect it with, with so many other sort of negative associations that they may have developed over the years. And they really don't realize, or they don't acknowledge, either consciously or just out of ignorance, how all of them believe in the value of selling.
They do.
The value of selling is, showing up in a suit on your job interview. It's, putting on, getting a fresh shave, new haircut, cologne when you're going on a first date.
That's salesmanship.
All of that is selling.
It is.
And, looking at somebody in the eye, smiling, shaking your hand when you meet them, that's selling. And no matter what it is that you do, I think was it Chris Rock? It might have been Chris Rock that had a bit. He had a bit on dating. And he was like, when, you go to first date, you don't meet that person. You meet that person's representative, and it's,
might have been Eddie Murphy that said that.
Might have been, right? One of them. So comedians.
Exactly. Comedians. Jesus fucking Christ.
So it's really, selling. Zig Ziglar says, now I'm a huge Zig Ziglar fan.
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar says selling is a transference of energy, right?
Yep.
So his whole thing is, and this is the, when I do sales training, this is what I sort of position. This is the metaphor that I use. If I go into the room, right, you don't have access to that room, but I go into that room and there is a piece of art and it is absolutely amazing. And I know you would love it because I've seen the art you have and it is art just like the art you like.
Cool.
And I have to describe it to you, but you're not allowed to see it. And it has a huge price point, but you're not allowed to see it. And I have to go in there and look at how amazing it is and come out here and make you feel the same way. That's the transference of energy.
Yeah.
You don't have access to that energy. I have to go in there, get the energy, come out here and share it with you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's pretty much like if you talk about going on a date.
Yeah.
You think you're a great guy.
You
she'd be great with me. She'd be happy if she was with me, yada, yada. So you're trying to transfer that energy to the date.
Correct.
And maybe a couple of little DNA at the end of the night, too.
Maybe transfer some DNA. Who knows?
We can't help ourselves.
Listen,
we're fucking barbarians.
They call it the hot beef injection.
Who's they?
Like all kinds of people. Scientists. Obviously, that's a scientific term. Injection is science. Anyway,
so
you made. I remember that before I was officially a member of the staff or opening the school, you were training the guys with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you knew what my goals were, so I approached you. I was like, can I learn that stuff too?
You were
like,
what?
sure.
You were trying to take over.
Yeah, I was trying to fucking take over the show. I was like, this guy right here. No, but I want to open a school. So you were like, yeah, of course. So I got to learn this stuff hand in hand with everybody, which was.
Right. And this book I used for training.
Ended up working out.
Yeah, 100%. So a couple of great sayings that you get from Zig Ziglar. And I know a slew of them. I know Zig Ziglar's stuff, I could teach a college course on Zig Ziglar's material.
Yeah.
He says, you can get anything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want.
100%.
My basic mantra for business is win-win.
It's always win-win.
It's got to be win-win.
It has, yeah, always.
Because nothing lasts if it's not win-win.
It doesn't at all.
If the client gets a lot and I don't have a sustainable business model.
No, not at all.
They get everything. I don't get anything. Eventually, I got to go out of business.
And then they can't get what they paid for.
If I get everything and they get nothing,
they're going to quit.
My reputation is shot.
Yeah.
I don't have any longevity.
Yep.
Dan Kennedy, another genius, and the only reason his books aren't here is because he doesn't have that one book. He has a collection, just a library of information. Dan Kennedy says, you don't get a customer to make a sale. You make a sale to get a customer.
Correct.
Right? And I remember when I worked for the funeral home. I worked for 2 funeral homes here in the Bronx many moons ago. And one of the things I noticed was that, and I didn't know because I didn't really have any, information that would have prepared me for it. But in the funeral business, you pretty much have families that use you as their funeral director.
Yeah, I get it.
And now it makes it makes sense. It's pretty easy to understand. But when I was in my early 20s working at the funeral home, I was always amazed that whenever somebody else died, they brought them to the same funeral home. Almost like, I would think that they thought this funeral home was bad luck or some shit. But
They died at
whatever.
the funeral home, maybe.
Right. But you realize, that the funeral homes spend a lot of time and energy in cultivating and maintaining those relationships.
Yeah.
And in business, the whole notion of a win-win is really based on, well, what can I do for somebody else? Because I'm about to ask them for something.
Correct.
And it's only right that that I help them get something in return. Really, if I'm the one initiating, that I help them get something first.
Yeah.
And in the info market business, right? And I'm fucking talking about a lot of stuff right now.
It's very cool.
In the info market
do
business,
people know info marketing?
If they don't, then Google is your friend. But those of you that do, you'll understand this. I'd always thought, like so many people do, I got this great idea for a product. Well, there is no greatness in a vacuum.
True.
So a great product is a product that produces
people
right?
want.
So you don't find the product first. You find the crowd first.
Well, that's how mistake people make.
Right. That's probably the first and the one that everybody dies on, right there. They invest all their capital and resources and time, energy into something that they never bothered to see if there was actually a market for.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Zig Ziglar, just that first, you can help, you can get anything you want if you help enough people get what they want. You're selling a product because, why? Do you want the product to just be successful? Or do you want to make money from the product? What is your goal? And it could be different. But the whole thing is, if you're not taking into consideration the sort of the other side of the fence, you're doomed for failure.
100%.
And Zig Ziglar is one of the guys, on sales training that I always loved because he would always talk about integrity. He would always talk about openness. He would always talk about, following the rules and holding people to the terms of an agreement, but always being forthcoming, always being consistent. You don't have to sneak anybody.
Yeah,
to
no,
be
there's
successful.
no need to do that.
It's not the way it works. But he has another one. There are 5 basic reasons people will not buy from you. These are no need, no money, no hurry, no desire, and no trust.
Yeah,
right?
It's true.
So no need. You're selling ice to Eskimos. Eskimos aren't going to buy ice from you.
No.
No money. You're trying to sell diamonds to somebody who's living in the projects. No, bad example. You're trying
They don't need diamonds.
They buy diamonds. That's why it's a bad example.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. So, no money.
Yeah.
Just think of a good example of that.
Well, if you went to some tribe somewhere in the middle of nowhere that had no form of currency aside from, let's say, trading goats and sheep, and you give them a $50 bill, they're going to be like, so I burn this and make fire with it. Like they're going to have no need.
That's not what no money means, though.
That's no money.
No, but that literally means no money.
Just trying to save.
They literally have no money.
I was trying to save your diamond.
I'm gonna save myself. Thank you very much. So no money means you go to college kids and you try to sell them mansions.
That works,
right?
Yeah.
They don't have the money for it. Maybe they love it, they want it, all this stuff, but they don't have the money for it.
Yeah, they don't have money for mansions.
No hurry, right? You're trying to sell somebody, snow tires in the spring.
Yeah.
They're like, come back in the fall.
I'll wait.
Great presentation. Seems like a great product, but it's fucking 80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I'm going fishing.
I'm not spending my snow tire budget
right
today.
Right. No desire. Sometimes people, it's like if you just ate, right? You just ate dinner.
Yeah.
And somebody tries to sell you a fucking hot dog on the street or something. Where do I think
I just got a steak dinner, guys. I buy
Yeah,
this hot
look,
dog. You're
it's
like, the
like-
fuck away from me.
It's like, no, I'm full. Like, get the fuck away from me. You
Yeah.
know, like you've just, satiated your appetite, and
Yeah.
now somebody's trying to sell you something else. No
Okay.
desire, right? And no trust.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell you the bridge between Brooklyn and Manhattan. The fuck, this fucking guy,
Yeah.
They don't trust you. They're not going to buy from you.
Definitely not.
Right. So he has such a wealth of information, just powerful, magical information. And it's all based on honesty. It's all based on integrity. It's also very much based on putting your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Not
100%.
shooting yourself in the foot. And, so many people think that selling is about deception and,
When you're selling bullshit, it is.
right. And I always said, like some people say, this guy, he could sell ice to an Eskimo. And I always said, if somebody could sell ice to an Eskimo, they're a piece of shit.
Yeah, pretty
Because
much.
Eskimos don't need ice.
True.
So being manipulative and deceptive is not being a good salesman.
And when you do it correctly, I had a situation where a guy wanted to join the school, but he sold gym memberships at like some other place, right? So first thing he does when he sits down, he says, listen, I'm not signing up today. Like I sell for a living. You're not going to close me. It's not going to happen. So I'm like, okay. I transferred the energy, got him excited. He joined. He was like, at the end of it, he was like, you got me. He's like, I didn't think you were going to, but I want to do that. You got me. And I was like, but I wasn't like, it's not, I wasn't.
And that's the
fake.
whole thing. When,
Yeah.
this isn't a battle. You know? Now, he will say, he and Jim Rohn say, as soon as you sit down at a close, you're selling them
Or they're
on
selling
them,
you.
or they're selling you.
Yeah. Either you're getting closed or you're
Right.
closing them. 100%.
All right. So they talk about, selling on benefits, and, I have the stack of benefits. He has the stack of money.
Yeah.
And I got to
100%.
make sure that he sees my stack of benefits as being greater than his stack of money. And
Yeah.
then he'll do the deal.
Yep.
So Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar. Now, by the way, guys, we're going to have links to purchase these books. They're all affiliate links, obviously.
Yeah.
But these are books that everybody needs to have.
That sounds like a win-win.
It is a win-win. It's exactly what we're talking about. Secrets of Closing the Sale, great book.
Yeah, it's legit.
So the first book. Now, this first book, I first read in college and didn't hit me. Read it again in my early 20s. Didn't hit me. Read it again right after I had gotten married. Didn't hit me. Married, a kid, business, motivated, got to make money, got mouths to feed. Read it again. Hit me over the fucking head.
Like a freight train.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill.
Yep. Think and Grow Rich. Awesome book.
Now, Think and Grow Rich is one of these books, and I'm going to talk about something right now that is going to apply to so many people. The majority of people, I'd say. There are some people who just think they're not supposed to be wealthy.
Yeah.
It's like they think they don't deserve it. They think it's not their destiny. They've managed to convince themselves that being well off is bad, and
I'm good with my 30 a year.
right. They
Pay my bills.
No, it was 50, that guy.
It's 50?
So
Yeah.
they rationalize, and they defend their mediocrity, really. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
But, it takes a book, like Think and Grow Rich, to sort of pull somebody out of, because it was written a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
It was written in like the 20s, I think, 1920s. And it talks about a mindset, and it references a bygone era. So it has enough of a hint of sort of abstraction
Yeah.
that people don't, I mean, and this is my process, really. I didn't feel like I was competing with every idea that was put forth by the book when it eventually, when I was motivated to receive the power from the book.
You're ready to accept the information.
I didn't feel like I had to really just qualify everything that I was reading. I could just take it in. And the whole note, the book it's basically 13 principles.
Yeah.
We'll go over the principles briefly. But it was Napoleon Hill was told by Andrew Carnegie to go and talk to all these business people and basically find out what made them successful. Find out what were the commonalities between all these great business people and why they did you just do it?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after. So why all of these? He didn't fart or anything. We'll talk about it.
It's fun.
So why all of them were successful? What it is they had to do to be successful? What drives them? All of these things. And for 20 years, he amassed this information, sort of distilled all of this information that he had accumulated into these 13 principles.
Yeah.
Now, for me, some of them are sort of so far out there that it almost makes me want to at least attempt. Like, let me give this a shot, because this is so sort of not instinctive, for me, the first time I went through it,
Yeah, I understand.
So we're going to go over them quickly and not to any great detail, but all right. So the 13 principles. Desire.
Yeah.
Desire is they all wanted to be successful. Faith. They all had hope. Having hope made things possible. 3, autosuggestion. A lot of them would attempt to proactively program their subconsciouses with, positive sayings, mantras, things that sort of filled those voids where our minds tend to wander. Well, they didn't allow for that.
I'm smart. I'm important. Gosh darn it. People
like me, right? And that's the autosuggestion.
That's powerful stuff, though.
Very powerful stuff. And stuff that, there's a certain point where, like I said, there are people who just don't think they're destined to be successful.
Yeah.
Or, they're so skeptical, but they're really skeptical because they're scared of failing. It's not really that, they don't trust the information. It's that they don't trust themselves to actually be successful.
True.
That's what it comes down to. And that's a personal thing. That's some shit that you guys got to sort out on your own. I got to the point where, and they say you do things out of inspiration or desperation.
Yeah.
Well, with me, with my wife, I had one son. My wife was pregnant. Like, I had to make something happen, and I was willing to do whatever it took, and if I had to sort of, suspend, belief long enough to sort of attempt to apply these concepts to my life, that's what I was going to do. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And the results were just incredible. To this day, I still reap the rewards of the information I got in this book. So number 4, specialized knowledge. There was a part in the book, and I don't know if it was Henry Ford. He was testifying before Congress. It might have been Ford. Whatever. You'll get the sentiment of the story. He was testifying before Congress, and they were talking about how he was stupid, or one of his competitors was accusing him of being, not an intellectual, or basically not capable of even playing a role in whatever it is they were trying to accomplish.
Okay.
And, he said, the guy had asked him, you don't even know what, this random fact was, whatever it was. And he said, I don't waste, Ford said, I don't waste my time learning these things. What good does it do for me to spend my time learning these trivial, meaningless things?
Yeah.
He goes, I have a phone on my desk and I can call anybody and find out anything in the world.
That's true.
So that's bullshit right there.
Yeah. 100%.
So when you're talking about specialized knowledge, in Ford's instance, he was the car guy. Yeah. So he knew how to do something that nobody else knew how to do. Yeah. And everything else was sort of sorted out,
Makes sense.
So the whole idea of specialized knowledge, it's a powerful one.
It's good.
Number 5, imagination. Imagination is, Code of 47, keep a child's wonder.
Yeah.
Right? It's what is it that you do to remove yourself from this sort of compartmentalization of your worldview?
Yeah. Disconnect from the world.
Right. For 30
Another-
minutes a day, right?
yeah.
Another quarter 47. So
Correct.
do you draw? Do you write poetry? I have my memes, like,
Yeah.
you plug yourself into Recharge.
I do. I run my subroutines.
Right. So imagination, a huge part of that.
Yeah.
Organized planning.
Very important.
What do they say? Fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Correct.
Right. Organized planning, finding systems, by which you will maximize the leverage of your time and efforts.
Adding priority to your tasks.
Right. 7, decision. One of the things he noticed that all of these people had the sort of profound, powerful ability to make a decision.
That's huge.
Huge. And they would make a decision quickly and they would change it very slowly.
Yeah.
They didn't shy away from making a decision on things. And so many people, they want to sit on the fence. But what happens when you sit on the fence? You remember?
Pole up your ass.
You got to sit there with a pole up your ass, right? Get off the fence.
That's a good one.
8, persistence. They do not knock on the door once.
True.
They beat on the door until it opens.
Yeah.
These people are persistent. They become obsessive with their persistence. It's a hound chasing a fox. It is in their drive. It's in their nature. It's something that they have sort of established as an integral part of who they are. They are not somebody that quits.
They're not going to stop.
Right? I just put a meme up a few days ago of you don't quit.
No.
Like you quit. Nothing is possible when you quit. It all starts when you quit.
It does.
Anything happens that's worthwhile after you don't quit.
True.
Right? So persistence.
People would always tell, like when I was going to open the school, there was family members or people or friends like, what happens if it fails? What are you going to do? And it's like, I don't even know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
What if it fails? Isn't even in my mind. Like, that doesn't exist.
Right.
If it fails, I die. I'm not going to die. So
what's the last time?
What's your next question?
When's the last time you crossed the street and actually thought about getting run over by a car as you did? Like, It doesn't happen. Why? Because you have such faith, hope, certainty. Just your whole worldview does not even allow for the possibility that that's going to happen. Because if you did, it would paralyze you.
You would have agoraphobia.
Right. It would paralyze you.
Like
Like you wouldn't be able to cross the
what
street.
if a meteor hits you?
Right.
Like I'm gonna worry
We can
about
play the what if game all fucking day.
Exactly right.
So next one. Power of the mastermind.
Nice.
Now, this is probably one of the most powerful elements of this book.
Yeah.
And the whole notion is, you do not have all the answers. But through networking, through connecting with like-minded people on the same mission, there is a synergy that's created. The group is the sum total of the group is equal to more than the individual parts. And it's one of those things that as a business person, I found brought me to a level that I had never experienced before, because what it also tapped into with me was my loyalty to my friends.
Yeah.
And my unwillingness, my flat out refusal to let my friends down.
Yeah.
Right. And putting myself in a group where we all bring something to the table. And when I had an idea, I ran it by them. When they had an idea, they ran it by me and the other group.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It's powerful. There's an inherent accountability. There's a creativity. There's like an energy. I use energy all the time,
really,
right?
Yeah.
But it's really, you are so motivated to do things when you are, I'll say, when you embrace the inherent tribal sort of instincts of you as an individual.
Yeah, when you're on the hook, you have the pressure, you're being challenged. We talk some shit.
Right.
Shit gets done.
Well, I'm from the Bronx, so
yeah,
it's all shit. So, power of the mastermind. Now, 10. It's funny. I was as I was taking notes for this episode, I found a website that listed these, and they had, I don't know if it was like for blind people or so, they had the little button, the audio button, the little speaker symbol, and you would hit it and it would just read the principle.
Sure.
Right. So I was looking for somewhere where I could just sort of copy and paste the list, you know, and there was this one site, and I eventually didn't get it off the site. I got it off of fucking Wikipedia,
Okay.
and but on the site I hit it and I was like, are they going to read the chapter? Because it was just the name of the principle. And it was no, they were just reading the principle.
Yeah.
But by this one, they didn't have one because they just didn't want to say this.
Really?
So it was so weird.
What the fuck?
Anyway, right, let me tell you what it is.
Cock and balls.
So it's cock and balls. You have to suck success off.
Are you prepared to suck your dreams dick? Are you going to suck your dreams dick? Are you going to swallow? Are you ready to suck your dreams dick?
I tried to keep it down here.
What am I going to do? You just went up there.
Holy shit. Number 10.
Also a
Suck,
reference.
Number 10. The mystery of sex transmutation.
Nice.
Now, it's funny because this is what you get when you deal with either old school shit or really rich motherfucker shit.
Yeah.
Because they don't limit themselves. And I've had the experience, throughout the years through personal training, through, the martial arts, to deal with some very, very wealthy individuals.
Yeah.
And this is par for the course.
You're poor, you're crazy. If you're rich, you're eccentric.
That's right. I'm eccentric.
Yeah, you're eccentric.
Right. So the whole thing is, sex transmutation is what Napoleon Hill's talking about is the drive that we have. Now, this is very male dominant.
It all makes sense.
It's, we are so driven to get laid.
Yeah.
That it is a never-ending source of energy.
To reproduce, to survive, basically to be immortal,
right?
In some respect, if you think of it that way. Yeah, of course.
And what Napoleon Hill does is he says that we need to find a way to mutate that to our targets so that we become as driven to achieve our goals as we are to get laid.
Yeah, 100%.
Incredible theory and one that makes sense.
It makes complete and total sense.
Right. So, for me, I remember, I don't know if it was like 2 years ago, I was jerking off on my ATM card.
Eccentric people, they do that stuff.
I had to beat you somehow. I couldn't let you. You were too powerful. I was threatened. I had to show some of my power, but that's weakness because I felt threatened. I can't win. Fuck, I'm still figuring this shit out. So, the mystery of sex transmutation. Number 11, the subconscious mind.
Nice.
Now, Anthony Robbins, another, self-improvement guru.
Yeah, he's legit.
Legit. A lot of great information.
Definitely.
He talks about self-talk. I actually think that was one of his books, if not one of his tape series.
Yeah.
Self-talk and
states.
Right. Putting yourself in state, but also how it is that you program your subconscious mind.
I see.
Like we don't say weaknesses. We don't have weaknesses. We have strengths and
future strengths.
Right. When we're training with STG, we have our strong arm and
our other strong arm.
And our other strong arm. Right.
I have my leg and my metal leg.
Right. That's just though.
That shit's metal.
So I believe you.
That's
I was there.
awesome.
I was there. But the whole, the whole concept.
Oh, wait. My son was like, Magneto, fuck your leg up today. I was like, fuck Magneto. That's what I said.
Anyway. Lunch with Patrick Kelly.
Anyway, I digress.
Eat your fucking Lunchable and shut up.
Eat your fucking chicken.
So the subconscious mind is something that, we've installed that here, at the school, the Jungle Gym.
100%.
When we're with STG, with SOC, when we're with, all the groups of people who have embraced these concepts, everybody, basically keeps themselves honest with this.
100%.
No weak language is allowed.
Yeah.
I talk about, now, the school is to the point where it's experienced enough growth that I'm not the one that signs people up for memberships.
True.
And there was a time where I was a one-man show.
You signed me up.
I signed you up, right?
Yeah. And you didn't believe me.
Right.
Because I was like, I didn't have any money.
Listen.
And I was
Listen,
like,
Zig Ziglar, baby.
I was like, listen, I'll be back Tuesday with money. You're like, fuck you. You're like, yeah, sure. And then I showed up Tuesday and fucking paid. But yeah, you signed me up right at the front.
I'm just saying.
At the old front desk.
I'm good.
You signed me up.
I'm good.
You're like, yeah, this is how much it costs. Get the fuck out of here.
And you brought the
Yeah,
money.
I'm just saying, I brought the money.
So I had the highest close percentage ever. So anyway, so prices were really low. But no. So for me, whenever I would face somebody, like it was a face off.
That's how it
Whenever
really is.
I'd sit with somebody who, to get a guy married, maybe kids, maybe no kids, and we'd go over the rates for the school, different programs and such, and he would say, I have to go, I gotta go run it by the boss.
Yeah.
So I'd say, oh, your job's paying for this? He's going, my better half. Your better half. Are you not an entire whole individual sitting in front of me right now? My wife, she really decides, or we have to talk about it together. And, well, I mean, how are you even going to bring it up? Because she obviously doesn't even know you're here. Because obviously you must have snuck in here.
Yeah.
Trying to do something manly for yourself on the low.
On the low, because you can't tell her.
So what are you going to tell her? You can't tell her you're actually trying to do something to be a man, because obviously she'll say no to that because look how she keeps you, So I've just flat out insulted more people that have given me that excuse than any other. And it's because it's all based out of weakness. It's, do you think this is something you should be doing? Well, I would argue there's not a goddamn person on the planet, that you should be talking to aside from yourself.
Yeah. What was your name on the paper?
Right. Fuck is your name? So
wait, it's Nancy.
It's right. That I pulled that off too. It's like, look, you wrote down Bill here. He's like, yeah, that's my name. So why are you acting like a Nancy? I've done that plenty of fucking times.
That's a good one.
But it was good in terms of entertaining. It never really worked much.
Fuck them.
But and I agree. But the whole
we don't convert people,
right? And the whole thing is, how is it that these people can speak about themselves as if they are so lowly, as if they are so sort of powerless, and not expect that somehow to affect the nature of their reality?
It's true, 100% true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And even when you talk about animal behavior, right? And it's easiest with dogs, like Chihuahuas. Chihuahuas are little fucking gangsters. You will take a little badass Chihuahua and you'll put him in a room full of Rottweilers. If that Chihuahua is the alpha, you will see him strut like one. You will see him act like one. And chances are you will see him lead like one because the other dogs will fall into line.
They will.
So, and it's just because the dog believes subconsciously that he's the one. He's the boss.
Fuck everybody.
I'm the fucking boss here.
That's my hammer.
Right, exactly. So that's what you get. And when you talk about the subconscious mind, you cannot sort of undervalue that.
You can't.
Right? So number 12, the brain. Now the brain, what is it that we do to make ourselves, luminosity, right? You heard of luminosity?
Yeah.
I'm a member of Luminosity. You a member of Luminosity?
It's like the game. It's really
right.
cool.
So daily I play Luminosity games, right? I'm obsessed with not losing like my mental capacity, right?
It's very important.
When you talk about the brain, you have to talk about what is it that you're doing to try and maximize the development of your intellect, of the processing speed of your intellect, of your brain, your problem solving abilities, the strength of your mentality. And, this is something that these people paid attention to. They paid attention to, what they did to make themselves more powerful.
Yeah.
And physically, in terms of, their mind, it was something that they certainly factored into the equation.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, the sixth sense. This is number 13, the sixth sense. This is now that gut feeling.
Yeah, your instincts.
This is, and it's funny because I have very underdeveloped views on this, but views nonetheless. I believe in a sort of karmic effect in reality. And I think it's quantifiable. I think it's scientific. And I think it's ultimately controllable, And it's really, if you're the guy that smiles every day, you're going to experience life a certain way.
True.
Take that same guy, make him snarl and look angry every day. Walk through the same day. His reality is going to be different. So there is at its most elementary state, a way for us to affect our reality. And I truly believe that we'll understand more about this one day, but I truly believe that we understand more subconsciously than we do consciously. And sometimes our feelings, our gut feelings, are things that aren't necessarily being processed consciously, but subconsciously our body is already making deductions and coming to conclusions about and reacting to, even though we don't have a sort of corresponding conscious, sort of process to go along with that.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling about this.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And it's, it's funny because I am an atheist. Like, I am a skeptic. I am somebody who, me and my 8-year-old were having a talk today about, Shintoism.
Nice.
Like my son in books. It's like he keeps me honest.
Yeah.
And he was asking me,
he's looking at samurai shit.
Right. So. And he's like, why is it that, samurai, make, give offerings to gods and statues, but we can't go to church because that's silly. I said, well, first off, you can go wherever you want as soon as you're allowed to go wherever you want.
Yeah, sure.
I said, I don't go to church. You're my kid. So you're not going anywhere. I'm not going.
Yeah, the fuck.
I said, there's a reason why Shintoism and samurai giving offerings to statues is always going to be more powerful than people going to worship a god in a house like a church. Yeah. And he said, why? I said, because samurai have swords.
They do have swords.
Now go fucking play a goddamn game. Leave me the fuck alone.
Now go learn about how many pigs a samurai sword can cut.
Yeah, but Shintoism, we were sitting there talking about that. And so the whole thing is, we have an ability to pay attention to our experiences, even on a subconscious level. I believe that completely. You 100%. Talk about, proprioception, balance, being able to walk and navigate, multitask. I could talk on the phone. I could look at traffic lights. I could drive 80 miles an hour. Allegedly, hypothetically, in a video game. But I could do all these different things. How is it? How many times have you driven home from someplace
asleep
and completely asleep?
Like
how the fuck am I here right now?
I am many times,
right, and not even asleep, but even distracted, or
sure.
or like
there was one time I woke up in the driveway, like, how the fuck did I get here?
Right,
and I don't drink or anything. It was I just was on autopilot.
Right, and our body is capable of doing things.
Not saying you should do that
at all,
by the way.
But anyway, that far exceed our conscious mind.
Course.
So now, this is funny. I'm going to back us up for a second. Think about the things we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
This is Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, this is business stuff.
This is business. This is Think and Grow Rich. And this is my point.
Yeah.
Look where the conversation just sort of veered off to, talking about these concepts.
Yeah.
That's why it's so powerful.
It is.
Because you're taking into account things that you would never think imaginable have anything to do with being successful in business.
Yeah.
But here it is. All of these successful business people all had this as integral parts of their success.
True. Not a lot of these books are talking about analyzing market perspectives and fucking profit sharing and
right.
all that bullshit.
And there's books for that, and that's all fine. But when you talk about, especially starting out, like we say with anything, your mindset is where it begins.
100%.
And Think and Grow Rich, I mean, to me, greatest business book I ever read.
Yeah, easily.
And I still get, power from it regularly. There's already some things I'm thinking about after having this conversation that I want to read up on. But, so let's review the list.
Okay.
We have number 5, Outliers
Outliers.
by Malcolm Gladwell. Number 4, Tribes by Seth Godin. Number 3, one of my favorites. Third favorite, actually. It's so stupid.
One of my third favorites.
The Art of Strategy by R.L. Wing. Number 2, Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar.
Awesome.
And number 1, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just an incredible, incredible book.
Yep. Awesome. Very, very good.
So let's move on to the next section.
Okay. What are we doing with this?
Oh, yeah, we got to do the mantle.
Mantle, and we got to go over the the thing.
What thing?
The gesture, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. The yawn.
Oh, we got to tell. So let's tell that story now. The thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
How do I know by the thing? You know,
Thing with the guy,
thing.
the thing I put that place that time.
So we had this conversation.
Yes.
We were like, well, what do we got to do if we have to yawn?
Yeah, today we were
Like, is
lifting
that
weights.
so unprofessional?
Yeah, we were lifting today.
And it's like, what do we do if we have to yawn? Because understand, like right now, what time is it?
It's not that late.
It's almost 3 a.m. right now.
It's 2:41. It's early.
Right, it's early. And believe us when we say this is early compared to the usual times we're doing this.
Yeah, it's early.
So Pat showed up, and most of the research was already done.
Shit was fucking ready to rock.
We went over a couple of things,
Yeah.
and we got to pop it. But
Ate some Mexican.
right, so food, Paula, food. He meant
Some Mexican. But she knows the fucking place.
all right. So
Anyway, not being racist.
so we were deciding today, or establishing, because we're still establishing our video protocols.
Correct.
So it's like, what do we do if we yawn? Because that's so unprofessional.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking interested do these people really think we are? If we're sitting there, we're like, yeah, yawning, fucking read a book, make some money. So we were like, well, what's the alternative? To sit there with a straight face and try and yawn without moving and look like you're fucking coming in your pants.
Which I did before.
Right. So I saw you. And it's, so you're like, and I thought we decided that was worse. But then you did it.
Yeah, but I think that's better than an
That's
actual
better
yawn.
than an actual yawn.
Yeah, because unless you're really noticing, like if people actually like,
You guys should tell us.
yeah,
If we need to yawn, should we yawn? Or should we do the fake fucking, should we hide it, sneak it?
I'm always gonna.
Should we be dishonest?
It's not being dishonest. I'm always gonna do like the yawn. That's what I'm gonna do. I can't help it. That's how I yawn when I don't want to yawn.
So now we're talking about yawning. I feel like yawning.
I reject yawning.
I reject it too.
Done. So you guys don't have to tell us anything. So we established that.
All right. So that was the thing.
Yeah. It was
All right.
pretty
So
fun.
now,
anyway,
this is cool. The mantle. Now the mantle, I'm moving this off camera. All right. On the mantle today,
that's not Kool-Aid, by the way.
It's not Kool-Aid. We have a pretty. Let me get to the camera real quick.
Yeah. Get crazy. It's good.
A pretty cool DVD, and
We're gonna hold it together.
no, we're not. I was not gesturing for you to grab it. Fucking weirdo. This is the DVD from my debut in MMA, and it's Sport Fighting 2. The promoter was Brian Simmons, that some of you may know from Grappler's Quest.
Yeah.
And obviously an incredible night. Not only did I debut in MMA, this was my debut card, but I also got to debut with that guy. And that's my instructor, Rob Kahn. He owns Gracie Tampa down in Tampa, Florida. And he beat the shit out of this guy. I beat the shit out of my guy.
It's true.
And it was pretty
Everyone
cool.
was afraid of you in the back. I heard.
I was
People were fucking afraid of you.
Oh man.
They weren't even, they're on your corner and they're not even against you. They were afraid of you.
Everybody, you know what it is? I've been in so many fucking fights in the hood. These are all a bunch of nice guys. They come from nice families.
Hit you a refrigerator.
Right? So I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I'm gonna read these matches that were here, and I'm gonna talk about everybody on the card. Right?
Okay.
This is a really cool fucking card. Especially if you were from the Northeast at the time in MMA. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys started getting into the mix. and we really didn't have that promotion that we felt comfortable fighting in. And I had a lot of experience with Brian Simmons through Grappler's Quest, through competing myself and my students. So I trusted him. I thought I wouldn't have to worry about anything. And because I'm a paranoid fuck, I hate people.
Yeah, it's true.
So easily. Like if you're full of shit, I immediately don't want to deal with you. Like I don't have he's only a little full of shit.
Yeah, no.
If you're full of shit, I just don't want to deal with you. So with Brian Simmons, he and I have a relationship that I didn't have to worry about any of that. So I decided to do the card, and let's start from the bottom. All right. Okay. So Corey LaPlante, who member of Team Balance and Tai Kai, BJJ, fought your buddy Scott Shinnick.
Scott Shinnick, yeah.
Now, where do you know Scott from?
He worked with me at a production company.
Right. Cool dude.
Yeah. Cool dude.
Got the shit kicked out of him that night.
Yeah.
But talk about like a dude that was down, he didn't give a fuck. Nope. But Corey whooped that ass. Yeah, it was good. It was a good fight for Corey.
But he looks back on it fondly. He's like, yeah, fuck it.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, it's like he did it. He
showed me the fight. He actually came in my office one day and showed it to me.
Yeah,
like, here, look at me getting fucked up. I was like, that's cool.
But I give him props.
100%.
And a cool dude, real cool dude. So next was Alexis Ramos from Team Balance, a friend of mine, student, my friend Marco Perazzo student. And he fought a guy, Thomas Velasquez from Team Endgame. And now Thomas Velasquez is a hand job. So he is
not related to Kane.
Not related at all. And he's a guy that thinks he's more established than he is. And Alexis beat the living shit out of him.
Nice.
It was great to see.
That's awesome.
So next we had Mike LeDuc from Empire Martial Arts. And Empire Martial Arts was a school I had done a seminar in.
Okay.
And Alan Condon, I think, owned it. And Alan brought me up for a seminar. I think I trained with Mike there. I'm not sure. But Mike LeDuc, scrappy little dude. He fought Vincent Burier from New York Combat Sambo, school owned by my buddy Steve Kofer. And Sambo Steve, they call him. And good fight. Good fight. Next was Jay Isip, and he fought for Team Endgame, which is Eddie Rollone's school, versus a guy named Frankie Edgar.
Who's that?
This little wrestler dude from Jersey.
I think I heard of him.
So
that sounds familiar. What do you think?
Jay Isip, I'm almost certain he's the guy that always falls asleep in Kurt Pellegrino's videos.
Yeah.
That Kurt likes. Yeah. It's fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
So he trains with Kurt now, and he's always falling asleep in class, and they make videos of like Kurt like slapping him upside his head, waking him up. It's hysterical. But he fought Frankie Edgar. And Frankie Edgar, this was his debut also. And, the guy, he won, and he was Frankie Edgar. He was the machine
in the UFC.
That guy.
Holy shit! He
was a machine that did not stop. It was great to see. And looking back on it, it's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
I got the debut. I know Frankie, great dude, and one of my favorite guys to watch.
Yeah, legit.
And if he wants it, he'll be champion again someday. Because I
agree.
He does not know how to quit. All right. So next we had Tim Carpenter from Balance. I know Tim, long time. Great dude, versus Jonathan Hellwig. Now, I don't know Jonathan that much. I know he looks like an in-shape King Kong Bundy.
That's good.
And I honestly mean that as a compliment. I like King Kong Bundy.
King Kong Bundy's legit.
But I remember him, he had a hairy back. He was just this big, bald dude. And him and Tim Carpenter had a great fight. Tim Carpenter is a black belt. I think Tim Carpenter armbarred him.
Okay.
I think he armbarred like a triangle armbar or something like that. And there's a picture of it right in the fucking thing.
Oh, there.
That's what he did.
Nice.
And then we had me versus Scott Argot from Team Bare Knuckle Assassins. Remember I told you I was very, very nervous at first, Scott Argot, but then I realized that he had to wear gloves.
Yeah, he had to wear gloves.
All of his techniques were bare knuckles.
The bare knuckle assassin part was removed.
Right. So he tough dude.
Sure.
Tough dude, got put to sleep in 47 seconds, I believe it was, and didn't tap. It's funny because I put him to sleep in less than a minute, but I had to walk around with a black eye for about 2 weeks.
Punching behind his head.
When I was choking him, he was just swinging and hit me in the same fucking spot. And as he's hitting me, I'm going, I have to fucking squeeze harder because he's going to leave a mark. I'm already thinking about, like, I'm going to be later. They're going to see this. After this, though, he fought again in, I think, Sport Fighting 3 maybe, and he fought a black belt, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt from Brazil. I don't remember the guy's name, but he had like a war with this guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
That's cool.
So, the guy's a tough dude.
He was a tough dude. He wasn't giving up.
And I beat him, so it was great. Next, we had Rob Kahn. Now, Rob Kahn, Hoist Gracie black belt.
Yep.
Technically, one of Hoist Gracie's first 5 black belts.
That's pretty cool.
Hoist promoted 5 people on the same day. He was one of them.
Cool.
I believe he got every single one of his belts from Hoist. Has known Hoist, since he first started out in Torrance in California in the mid 90s.
Very cool.
And he fought Paul Melvin from Real Combat Martial Arts. Paul Melvin, the guy, tough dude, wrestler, was a gentleman, nice guy. Didn't want to tap to Rob's armbar. Rob eventually put the arm behind his armpit.
Yeah.
And then he tapped, and it was a great fight, and it was good because Rob and I both debuted, same card, we both won. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
And the main event was Leo Dalla versus Jay Coleman. Now, Leo Dalla I knew from Brazil because Leo Dalla used to have a school in Rio. And when I went to Brazil, I actually trained at Leo Dalla's school.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember that story.
Nice guy, very, very inviting. And, I always got along with him. Eventually he moved. When I was in Brazil, was his last week in Brazil.
Oh, yeah?
So he was moving up to the U.S. while I was
see.
down visiting. So I got to hang out with them. They had like a farewell barbecue. We were invited to the barbecue. Leo Dalla's a great guy, real nice guy. Everybody knows Leo Dalla, knows he's a nice guy.
Very cool.
Jay Coleman, I actually trained with. So Jay Coleman is a guy who I just found him on Facebook. I think he's fighting again. Good for him. I mean, the guy, Jay Coleman, he was one of my best training partners I've ever had.
That's awesome.
Training MMA. Tough as nails, good wrestler, hit like a fucking brick shithouse. Power in both hands, and he eventually, I think he's training more jiu-jitsu now, and
okay,
he's getting back in the cage. Good for him. Jay's a great dude, and he and Leo Dalla had a war that saw Leo Dalla's head split open.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think Jay hit him with like an overhand, like split his head open bad.
Crazy. And
they called the fight. Jay Coleman won. And it was cool because my corner man, Steve Katz, Master Katz, shout out.
Nice.
He was also in Jay's corner and best cut man that I've ever worked with. One of the guys that I have working with you now.
Yeah. Awesome.
And he actually, even though he was in Jay's corner, stopped Leo Dalla's cut that night.
Did he?
Which is pretty cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So Sport Fighting 2, I mean, I'm not selling it. I have a few copies left. I keep one for me.
Yeah.
I don't think Brian Simmons is selling them anymore. But if he is, pick it up. It's pretty cool. Great, entertaining card, and you get to see like one of the first, MMA cards on the East Coast.
Very
this
cool.
is in Jersey. So that's today's mantle. So you guys know every episode we're gonna have something on the mantle. It may or may not have something to do with what the show itself is about, but it's something that we get to share extra with you guys that we may not have an whole episode around.
Yeah, very cool.
So that's that. And with the mantle, if you guys have suggestions, please send us an email at info@thepressureproject.com, and or if you want to donate anything, say, look, I have this thing that I have. I want to see it, on the mantle during an episode and talk about it. We'll do it. We'll send it back to you. If it's worth it. Clear it with us first. Don't send us like your dead fucking cat and say I really miss fucking Yum Yum or some shit like that.
No dildos.
No dildos.
Just
Nor cats named dildos.
Yeah, none. And put the subject as the mantle.
The mantle. There you go.
Yeah.
The mantle. There you go. All right.
Cool.
So next segment, the Pressure Player and Unicorn. So now the Pressure Player is probably my favorite person in all of the self-improvement, business, leadership, all that stuff, Niche.
I agree. My favorite as well.
Is it really?
Yeah, easily.
This guy's fucking awesome. He passed away. I never got to see him live. One of my life's regrets.
Like I got exposed to Zig Ziglar first, but then you followed up with Jim Rohn, and it was like,
So it's Jim Rohn,
yeah,
by
it's
the
Jim
way.
Rohn.
You have the timing of a rock.
That was pretty good.
That was terrible. Jim Rohn. Now, Jim Rohn is probably, I mean, the guy's got charisma for days. He's like from an Idaho potato farm or some shit. He was raised on a farm somewhere in the Midwest. So there's I don't look at Jim Rohn and say, that's me, like that. Like there is none of that.
He has a religious component to him.
Yeah, but you love the fucking guy.
Yeah, he's great.
And, he had a little not so well-known fact. He had working for him at one point a certain Anthony Robbins.
Oh, yeah?
Anthony Robbins, you didn't know that?
No.
Anthony Robbins actually worked for Jim Rohn as a younger man.
I missed that. That's cool.
And eventually went off on his own. And, I've been to Anthony Robbins events, and he gives Jim Rohn shout-outs. I don't know to what extent, but Anthony Robbins worked for him, at some point. And Jim Rohn's story, right? Because when you're a public speaker and you go around, either selling products or just talking to crowds on all these various topics.
Yeah.
You need to have a story, right? You need to somehow organize your life story, and his was always awesome. He had this whole spiel that, something like the creditors were calling, pennies in my pocket.
Yep.
He was just awesome. I'm smiling thinking about it.
Yeah, it's really good.
And he said he got a job from his mentor, Earl Schoaf, at a certain age. And when he did, he was dead broke, owed money, didn't know what was going on. And Earl Schoaf shared all these lessons with him. Yeah. And that is like, the impetus for his work, all these lessons that were shared with him that he eventually applied and what he learned during that process. And Jim Rohn, you want to talk about quotes. Jim Rohn is just a beast with powerful quotes.
Yeah, he's good.
So I wrote a couple of them down. My 4 favorites I wrote down that are Jim Rohn's quotes. Now, these have been attributed to other people at some point. To the best of my ability, I researched the hell out of these, including the first one, because the first one gets credited to a million different people. But these are all Jim Rohn's quotes. So the first one, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Awesome.
Now, it's just a simple way to share what so many people seem to lack in their lives. And understanding that if you hang out with 4 losers,
you're the 5th.
You are a loser.
Yeah, you're the 5th loser.
And it's something that is so hard for people to understand. Maybe it's people's egos, people aren't willing to understand that they are guilty by association, with the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point, because, the negative is, you hang out with losers, you're the 5th loser. But the positive is, if you find a stronger group to hang out with, you will be stronger.
Yeah, you can't help it.
Right.
If you're accepted into that strong tribe or strong group, you will be raised with them.
Absolutely. And it happens to all of us. I know there are times where I'm away from my brothers. I'm away from the guys who strengthen me. And, I go through enough pressure where I'm sort of beaten down, and you'll hear the weak sentiment here and there. You'll hear, that weak language, finding its way into my daily, talks and stuff. But then I'll spend some time with my brothers, and it's a reset.
It is 100%.
And it's a reset that we all need. And just as we could be positively reset, we could also be negatively reset.
It's true.
So you could be riding high. You could be, just doing so much in your life where you feel, like you are top of the mountain or finally climbing that ladder, and you go and hang around four fucking losers and they
just
will
drag you down.
They will just sap the energy out of you.
Yeah.
So great quote. Number 2. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
Awesome. 100% true.
No excuses.
Yep.
No excuses. If you really want to do it, you'll find a way. The samurai maxim, to know and to do are one and the same.
Correct.
If you are not doing it, that means you do not truly know it. So if there is something you really, really want to do, you'll do it. Yeah. I mean,
yep.
My whole thing is I am far from perfect and I got a long way to go, but I am so competitive with myself.
Yeah.
Like I am constantly assessing myself. I'm constantly asking myself, are you doing your best? Is there something you should be doing more? If there was another one of you, would he be looking at you and calling you a loser right now? Like,
yeah.
I have all these things that I deal with to drive myself. And so much of it has to do with no excuses.
None.
And, if there's something that I say I want to do, I remember like 2 years ago, I said I wanted to fight again.
I remember that.
And it wound up not happening.
Yeah.
Because I had to be honest with myself. I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if I was going to be able to handle the training because of my elbows.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would have done to my dynamic with my kids, because
with the students too.
Right. With the students. Absolutely. Because I become somebody else when I'm getting ready for a fight. And I didn't know if I wanted to put everybody through that.
Yeah.
To do what? To win another MMA fight? Like, I don't know if that, ends justified, the journey there, So, great saying. So, next one. Successful people have libraries. The rest have big screen TVs. Now, just off camera here, I have, my library in my office. It's so funny, but I was looking for all of these books. I have one of them.
Gave them away.
And the one I have, Secrets of Closing the Sale.
Yeah.
And we had bought like 20 of them at one point.
Yeah.
And I have one left.
Yeah.
All of my books I give away.
Yeah, you never let people borrow books as a rule.
Yeah, it's just
you don't.
You come into my office and you see a book and you like it, I'm gonna give it to you. Yeah. It's the way it works.
Yep.
And the only thing I've ever asked is that when you're done with it,
fucking read it.
You read it.
Yeah.
But when you're done with it, you find somebody else that could benefit from the power.
100%.
And pass it on. So I've owned multiple copies of all these books. I have none of them right now, which I'll reorder all of them.
Correct.
With the links that we'll have on the page.
Nice. Another win-win.
Absolutely. So, all these people, the nice TVs, the nice cars, the jewelry, it's funny. I remember, here's a good saying or good observation. I remember I was in 8th grade in John Philip Sousa on Baychester Avenue in the Bronx. It's right across the street from Eden Wall Projects. And
great neighborhood. Gentrified.
Right. And, being there, it was always about who had sneakers, who had a gold chain, who had, a bracelet, who had a certain type of jacket. It was all these superficial, representations of status.
Yeah.
The next year, I was accepted into Bronx High School of Science. And I got to go to Bronx Science. And one of the things that is inherent in Bronx Science is you have children that come from successful families. So you have kids who are not just, now they span the spectrum in the school.
Yeah.
But there is a huge component of rich kids.
Asians.
It could be Asians, a lot of just white kids from Manhattan, and it was new to me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I remember seeing them, and they didn't have fancy sneakers. They didn't have fancy jackets. They didn't wear jewelry. Maybe they had a watch, maybe that like. But so all these things, it was like, why don't they have it all at another level? And they had the priority straight.
Yeah, 100%.
And, I was, a product of my neighborhood. And, my family, they don't, my father has his bracelet that he likes to wear when he dresses up in a suit, but My father was always a working man. His hands were always dirty. He's always
Yep.
fucking going to sleep. And my mother never really did jewelry. She's a hippie, so everything was made with fucking yarn and driftwood and shit.
Nice.
And but from my school, that's just the way the dynamic played out socially.
Yeah.
So the poor kids focused on the wrong shit. Rich kids, priority was set straight. So, that's Jim Rohn right there. Successful people have libraries, the rest have big screen TVs. Getting your priority straight is so fucking important.
It's huge.
And even when it comes down to your own definition of success, what is successful to you? Is it, I have $100,000 in the bank, but your wife, is ready to leave you, your kids don't respect you, it's just, there are priorities that are very individual, but they need to be set by the individual.
Correct.
Not by other people.
Yeah.
Right.
By external forces.
Right. His last one here, and I'll end this segment with this. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better.
Yeah. That's awesome.
See, now, admittedly, I know I come off as abrasive to so many people, and I don't give a fuck.
Only weak people.
It's true. I will say.
It's so hard to talk to.
Yeah, I know. Everybody says that. I get emails now when people leave the school. It's anyway.
Yeah.
But it's something that I understand. It's something that I embrace. I'm not the guy to get people to come from one side of the fence to the other.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that's going to make it enticing for the people that are on the fence to get down on my side.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
It does.
And, my whole thing is, I don't give a fuck about the guys on the other side because there's too many of them.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just too many of them. My whole thing is investing in the next generation of people.
Yeah.
People who are willing as adults now will absolutely get my investment. Children will absolutely get my
100%.
investment.
Yeah.
Adults who are fighting this information can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
I don't give two shits about them. But when you have Jim Rohn send it, he's reaching so many people who would totally tell me to go fuck myself. He'll say the same thing, and he'll say it like that with his smile and his little twang. And you just love the guy.
Yeah, 100%.
And oh man, you guys gotta watch. I'm not gonna. There's too many links, but we'll put one.
Yeah,
at least we'll put one link of Jim Rohn talking.
Yeah.
When he talks about messing up, you messed up.
You messed up. Yes, the best. You messed up.
Oh man, he's so awesome. Passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
I told you one of life's regrets, and I'm not one to regret, but I wish I would have seen Jim Rohn live.
That would have been cool.
So now the unicorn.
The unicorn.
The unicorn is your broke loser best friend.
Nice.
Everybody has one. Maybe they're not your best friend, but you have a friend.
Or at one point.
Now you still have one. You still have one that tells you, you should be hanging out. Tells you need to get security in your life. Tells you shouldn't be trying to do anything risky. Telling you that, vacations make it all worth it. Just weak fucking people who have no idea what it means to be successful.
Yeah.
I love, just like, you talking about your family. I'm not going to curse about your family, but there were people who have told me through the years, I opened a school as a blue belt.
Yeah.
And I had people, who were training partners of mine, friends of mine, who were telling me, that's not a good idea. This is like that. And I'd look at them. How the fuck do you know? Tell me about your school you opened as a blue belt. What the fuck do you know? I'm taking a chance because I have fucking 16 balls and it looks like a fucking bag of grapes, motherfucker. Just because you don't have the balls to fucking take any risk, that has nothing to do with me. And you all have a friend like that. You all have a friend that at the tail end of you reading these books, firing yourself up, designing the blueprint for reaching that next rung in life, that next level in whatever it is that you're trying to do. You all have that one friend at the tail end of that little preparation period you have. You're going to share that shit with him. And he's going to try and shoot as many holes in your fucking sail as possible. Why? Two reasons. Number one, because he's fucking stupid. Number two, because he's weak, right? And what's the saying? Weak people will do everything in their power to make sure you remain just as weak as they are.
They will.
Because what happens when you're successful? You leave them.
Yeah, misery loves company.
That's exactly right. They want to sit there and they want to talk about, the sport game. Hey, how about the game last night? I don't know. Were you fucking playing? Are there any other groups of fucking men you want to talk about that you were watching last night?
I tried.
You weak little shit.
I tried to be successful. It's a tough racket.
Tough racket.
Yeah. There you go.
Glengarry Ross.
There we go.
It's you have these friends.
I would say 90% of my almost all of my family, my core family, they were supportive of it. I had a couple little friends and people in the ear saying, "What if this? What if that?"
Because think about it. Let's really break it down.
Yeah.
The majority of friends you have, why are they your friends? Because they fucking live next to you. Because you see them during the course of the day.
I'm not a fan of friends by proximity.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. The majority of people who we have this intimacy with, right, are either people who are family, who, if it's blood family, you really didn't have a say in that. And then you have people that just happen to live close to you.
Yeah.
Who happen to work where you work, who happen to work out where you work out, who happen to do the things that you do where you do them. There is no qualifying process based on strength, based on achievement, right? Based on level of mindset.
Yep.
You didn't join the badass warrior club and met this guy there,
Yeah, true.
But this is why everybody needs a badass warrior club.
Yeah.
This is exactly the argument for finding those people that you are going to surround yourself with.
Yep.
There are people who are at one point in my life very integral in my life, and they were not down for the ride. They weren't down for the climb. And the plenty of these people, I love them to death. It means absolutely fucking nothing. I don't have any time for you. And if that is something that pisses them off, that's not my issue.
Nope.
Get better, step it up, do something that's worth me fucking spending time with you during, and I will be there right there next to you.
Yeah, 100%.
How many people, and you haven't been here from the beginning, but how many people do you know who I've tried to help, giving them free training, giving
all of them.
Almost all of them.
All of them.
Right? At the end of the day, they leave.
Yeah.
Right? Now, talking about the people who leave.
They all go lame.
They all go lame. And now, why do they leave? Because they're fucking weak.
Yeah. People that say they have a hard time talking to you are the people that can't stomach the power or even the truth. Like, I don't want to hear the real reason why I'm quitting. I don't want to hear the real reason why I'm weak. Right. I just want to, can't you just tell me something nice? Can't you say something nice? Like, no, fuck that.
And I'm not.
How about
even
I'm going to try to help you? How about I'm going to
Right.
say something that you need to hear so that you grow stronger?
Yes.
How about that? I hate my job. Quit. They're like, what do you mean quit?
Then shut the fuck up.
Then shut up. Stop fucking complaining.
Right.
You can't handle the truth.
So you have people who, and you all have somebody like this.
Yeah.
The saying goes, if you don't know somebody like this, chances are you might be that fucking person.
That's
Although here
Yeah.
you are, what are we? Fucking almost 2 hours? Where are we?
We're a little bit under 2 hours.
All right. If you're still listening now, you're not one of those fucking people. I got news
Definitely
for you. It's like one of those things where, how do you handle them? Because when you try to sacrifice, or when you wind up sacrificing what it is that you're doing just to do nothing but defend the mediocrity of one of those people, you're helping neither of you.
Yeah.
You're making yourself weaker to make somebody else feel comfortable about being weak.
It's okay. It's okay.
You want to help somebody? Tell them exactly to their face exactly what they need to hear. They're going to be uncomfortable, but you know what? It's fucking pressure to power.
Yeah.
Right?
Why can't you just listen? Why do you try to fix things?
Yeah, it's
that's usually what it is.
the things
Can't
that
I
I've
just complain to you?
the things that I've gotten. I don't want to work as hard as you.
Yeah.
I don't want to work as hard as you. You know what? Tell your fucking kids that.
You're smarter than me.
Tell your kids that. Tell your kids, yeah, my friend Justin, he wants to work harder for his kids than I do for you.
Yeah.
But you don't put it in that fucking paradigm. You don't put it in that framework.
Yep.
It's not my job, not my fucking kids. My kids know that their father cannot possibly work more for them.
Yeah, definitely true.
You know, now
You're better at that stuff.
right. That's what
You're
you get.
smarter than me.
And the list goes on
Yep,
and
yep.
on. Basically, it's actually okay that I'm mediocre. I'm a mediocre guy.
I'm happy with mediocre.
I'm a mediocre guy. Like everybody has one,
Yeah.
you know? And for me, if you're somebody who is weak, we had a student who he no longer trains here. Surprise, surprise.
Shocking.
Who I'm not gonna say his name, but he was the guy that was always complimenting me.
Yeah.
Complimenting the other guys. And he's like, "Oh man, you know, you guys, you know, you're
the best.
You know, you're so, you know, you're so strong. It's so easy for you to pick these moves up. It's so easy, you know. I'm not like that. You know, you guys are, you know, a different level." And finally, it got to the point where I had to mock him because it was so pathetic that I couldn't be around it.
Yeah.
So to somebody who doesn't know me, or some people that still do know me, and they hear how I was treating this guy, they're calling me, you know, you're being a dick, you're being rude, why are you being like that? It's like, no,
not at all.
No, I have a standard for fucking behavior for men. If you're going to spend time with me and the brothers in my fucking group, you need to step the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, because the whole woe is me, you guys are great.
You're
you guys
so much better than I am.
You know what? You're right. It sounds like you shouldn't be here. So get the fuck out.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like you're in the wrong room. Buddy.
You know, because it's not the guy that needs to grow. Because if you're willing to grow, you're fucking strong.
Yeah.
Right? You might not be powerful yet, but you're fucking strong. You have the strength to start pulling those fucking rungs down. Right? But it's the guy that sits on the rung where he is and it's like, "Oh man, you guys are great. Look how strong you are. You're fucking useless.
Yeah.
You're a reflection of other people. That's what you are. You're a fucking mirror. You have about as much impact on the real world as the reflections of actual people on glass as they walk down the fucking street. That's who you are.
That's true.
You are not masculine. You are a reflection of masculinity, right? You are only here to spread the word of other people's masculinity, right? Of other people's power.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't have time for that shit.
None.
You're taking up a fucking spot. You know, talk about Dunbar's number, right? He says 150 people.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I only got if you're going to run with that, I got 150 motherfuckers to spend some time with. And, you know, you're losing your fucking spot.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so those oh, man, you guys are so great. You understand, I don't need to be complimented.
No one does in our circle.
Listen, be powerful. Be powerful. Be powerful to the point that the people around you become powerful.
Yeah.
Be powerful to the point where people who are powerful find you.
Yeah.
That you have something to create a win-win. Ultimately, we're talking about business here. Now, when you talk about business, now we're talking about what it is that we're doing to achieve things in the real world, using our creativity, our networks, our habits, right?
Yeah.
You know, everything that we do as an individual immediately and directly reflects on what our accomplishments are in the real world.
100%.
If you're the guy that does nothing but talk about how great somebody is, how, you know, "Oh man, I can't wait till you get that mansion so I can come up with my kids because you know you're going to have one." People have said that to me. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I'll probably do okay for myself, but why the fuck are you saying that? And why are you saying that out loud? And why are you saying that out loud in front of your fucking children?
No one likes a sycophant.
Oh. So, fucking your broke loser best friend.
There he is.
You know, I've had a lot of loser friends. I've had friends who have stepped it up. I have some friends who have stepped it up recently. Love you, man.
Yep.
But I have other friends who are just still to this day, you know, "Hey, remember when?
Yeah.
You know, go to my mother's old neighborhood. Oh, remember when?" It's like, yeah, I remember. I was 16.
Yeah, I remember when I was 16.
I was locked up and I was fighting every day and I was fucking miserable and I had nothing. You know, let's talk about today. I got a wife, I got kids, I got a fucking business, I got friends, I got, you know, like, you know, there's no remember when. Why don't you fucking remember when? You know, remember, and one day you're going to go, "Remember when Justin used to come by and say hi?"
Yeah.
Because that's going to be remember when.
Yep.
Fuck those guys.
I agree. There's no room for it.
All right. Pat, we went over a lot of shit today.
We did. It's a fucking good episode.
Fucking great episode. Couple of rants.
Fucking
Fired
great.
up. Fired up.
Fired up.
Break it down, you white motherfucker.
All right. The power of business. So right now, if you are unhappy or you are not fulfilled in what you're doing and you hate your job, you don't like your situation, change it. Change it. Figure out what you want to do and do it. These books are a good start. Read all 5 of these books. Listen to them. Audiobooks, they have them. They're all good. Whatever you want to do. Make it happen though. Commit to at least this list to start. And the things you're going to get from reading these books, it's going to put your mind in a different perspective. And I think you'll have a paradigm shift. You'll be able to see something brand new and look at the world differently and possibly, gain power and success from it. That's what I'd say.
Well said. So these are our favorite books.
Yeah.
We think there's a lot of power to be taken from these books. These books continuously give power to my life. But ultimately, power can knock on your door. You have to open it. If you are one of these people who thinks that somehow it is not your destiny or your fate, or it was not meant to be for you to have the nice house on the top of the hill, to have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want, you're a person who is making decisions that you are unqualified to make. How the fuck do you know if you deserve to be successful? You aren't even qualified to make that determination. What are you qualified to do? You're qualified to pay attention to the things that you want to do, to the person you want to be. You are qualified to listen to the drive that your subconscious is trying to fucking jam down your throat and you are just rejecting. You are qualified to listen to that call. You're qualified to become motivated, by your goals, desires, to run from hardship, right? Sometimes we say, it's inspiration or desperation. What is motivating you? Well, you are qualified to listen to that scenario and leverage it to motivation to succeed. It is 2015. You can go on Google and learn anything. Anything. There has never been a time in the history of the human race where more information and power was a fucking fingertip click away on a computer. There is nothing that is ever going to convince me that it's okay for people to be weak. There is never going to come a time where I become convinced that men should not strive to be masculine. We're not made to quit. We're made to persevere. We're made to fight the fight of life, and we're made to dominate. We don't want it easy because an easy life gives you no power. We need the pressure. What pressure are you seeking out? Are you trying to seek out pressure that is going to give somebody else power? Are you a cog in somebody else's machine? At what point do you say, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Never mind deserve. Of course you deserve to be successful. You're alive. There is no other qualification for that. It's just a matter of, do you have the balls to go out and get it? Thank you all for listening. This has been our second video episode. I'm fired up. I'm liking the video.
It was a good one.
I hope you guys are liking it too. We appreciate you guys listening to these episodes. We know it's an investment in time, even more so for the video. But we are running on the power of the brothers. All right, we get so much good feedback that I'm pretty fired up and looking forward to recording these.
100%.
And
it's added a new energy.
Yeah, and we thank you guys for that. So the pressureproject.com is our website. info@thepressureproject.com is our contact email. You guys have been doing it so far. Continue to send us messages. Let us know what's going through your minds, what you like about the new format, what you don't like. We've had a couple of good suggestions that we're actually working on. Ulysses, I'm giving you a shout out. Ulysses Garcia, you the man.
Nice.
He sent me an app that I didn't even tell you about.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta.
All right.
Afterwards, we'll
Cool.
check it out.
Awesome.
But we appreciate you guys, supporting us. I guess till the next episode.
Yeah.
Thank you again, and as always, brothers, pressure to power.